Welcome to the Lowland League Catchup. It's myself, Chris, and today I'm joined by Derek. How you doing, mate?
I'm well, mate. How's you?
Yeah, good. It was all Lowland League action this week, which has been a bit of a scarcity of late. It's usually been cup games. We'll start with the early kick-off, which was Vale of Leven versus Civil Service Strollers at Victoria Park. The first half, Vale of Leven were 2-0 up. The first goal was scored by Liam Ireland on the 22nd minute, and the gaffer on the 36th minute, Chris Anderson getting his first goal of the season, I think, especially in the league anyway, for Vale of Leven. So half time, it looked like it might have been a bit of an upset there in terms of form, but Strollers, they'd done this a lot last season. They came back from a losing position. Into the second half, it was Josh Morris that pulled one back for Civil Service Strollers. Andy Mayer got the equaliser with a perfectly placed header from a Craig Newell cross. Cammy Muirhead then fired Civil ahead when he prods the ball beyond the keeper to make it 3-2, and Jack Hodge sealed it at the death, the victory in injury time after slotting the ball beyond the keeper. It looked like it might have been an upset there, especially the first half, but Civil, obviously we know how good they can be into the second half of football. What were your opinions, Moz, on that result there?
It was definitely an eye-opener when we saw Vale go 2 up, and it shows they've had quite a turnaround since that Fort William game in the Scottish Cup. And I noticed Ando yesterday tweeted out that he was obviously disappointed by the final score, but he was delighted with the way his players had played, especially the first half. So it's great to see that they've kind of come together and they're on the right path, put it that way. But you've got to give credit to Civil for this, because being 2-0 down away from home, it's not a good place to be at half time, and I've come out and they've just gone all guns blazing and won 4-2. So they've done it again. They're really accomplished at coming back for either drawing or losing positions at this point, and you just got to give them so much credit. It's everything was against them. They're on the road. It's just one of these things that a stronger mentality is needed for those kind of situations. Any weakness in that and they would have just folded, but they've kept themselves going, so full credit to them.
One thing we have mentioned it, but maybe not enough. Civil Service Strollers have had a lot of players missing through injury, so it's even more spectacular that they're still sort of near towards the top.
Yeah,
because they've had a few key players injured. They've been quite smart with loans, obviously, and the guys have brought in. But yeah, fantastic result. I mean, Vale of Leven obviously struggling at the moment, but you can't take anything away from Civil for that second half. It was a fantastic performance.
Yeah, you've just got to give full credit to them, I think. But from there, the second game we're going to look at was a game I was actually at, BSC Glasgow at home to Gretna 2008. And it ended up a 4-1 victory to the host. Again, a result that the two of you in the last podcast, yourself and Sean, predicted. But what wasn't all BSC's way. Basically, goal scored in 4 minutes. Ross McMillan turning in a Declan Hughes corner with it hit his head, then it hit his thigh, and I think it hit his hip and just dribbled over the line. It was one of those that you weren't quite sure it was in until the ref signalled to go back to halfway. So one of the messier goals the skipper will ever score. And Gretna hit back straight away, 7 minutes on the clock. Long ball forward towards Kevin Connolly up front. Kind of bundled into the centre back, was a fair challenge. Ball broke to him, and he managed to put the ball behind Marshall in goals. So a great response from Gretna, and it ended at half time 1-1. BSC did have the majority of the play, but one thing you can say about Gretna is they were harrying, they were harassing, they were closing down, they were getting a foot in and being really strong in the challenge. So they were doing exactly what Chris Humphreys has been wanting them to do. They were acquitting themselves and really making a nuisance of themselves on the road. But they kind of got killed 10 minutes into the second half, where McMillan, again, another corner from Declan Hughes, floated to him at the back post. This time he got a really clean, really strong header on it, and it was straight in. There was no way the keeper was stopping it. After that, 5 minutes later, it was 3-1. Great work from Michael Anderson. Found the pass for Jamie Mills on the left, and he managed to square it over to Thomas Collins, who smashed home. And yeah, it was another 5 minutes later on, BSC sealed it. 63 on the clock. Dave Mackay got the better of Infa Karoma. Found the ball over to Jamie Hamilton, who is becoming a wee bit of a kind of ghosting in at the last minute to the box and scoring through it. And he found the corner with a low drive. So, yeah, it was a deserved win for BSC in the end. There were positives for Gretna. I'm not sure that Chris will be happy with the final score, but there's things they can work on there. And if they keep playing that way in the games that they'll be targeting amongst the sides lower down the table, the Dalbeatties of this world, the Vale of Leathens, all these kind of matches, they've got a right good shot of staying up. But yeah, PSC march on, basically, and it was a game that I said if they didn't win, you could probably count them out of the league chase. So Swifty will be delighted.
Absolutely. I think BSC, they've shown time and time, especially with some of the transfers they've brought in, some of the loan deals they've brought in. Unlike yourself, mate, I've not really seen BSC this season, but guys like Jamie Hamilton, his name keeps sort of popping up. Michael Anderson, who's came in from EK, seems to be doing quite well. And then obviously you've got the sort of old guard, if you will, Ross McMillan, guys like that who are just doing fantastically well. It's all positive for BSC at the moment, and I'm interested to see what they do against the sort of tougher sides. They obviously had that fantastic result against Bonnyrigg. If they can do that against some of the other teams like we've seen so far this season, you have to consider them quite strong, a strong team in contention.
Oh, you've got to. Even just looking at the league table, you've got to consider BSC as one of the sides that are in contention. We've said this since the very start. This league is going to come down to the big games against the challengers. So when Kelty, Bonnyrigg, BSC, Stirlingshire play each other, those are the results that are going to decide where the title goes, in my opinion. So, yeah, as you say, it's a great blend Swifty's got. He's been really good since he's been in charge of getting the right mix of experience and youth. And guys like Jamie Hamilton are blossoming, like just coming into the squad in pre-season, having played well. And he's one of those rare things at this level, a guy who's just really technically equipped. Like he's the kind of guy that will go on and progress to League 2, League 1 Championship, because he's got an eye for a pass, and he's not a kind of old school just battering at midfielder. He's got a really kind of nice eye for a pass. He's always trying to play killer balls, and he's encouraged to do that, which is a thing at this level that I don't think clubs get enough credit for. Their willingness to try and play good football. People seem to think that it's just a kick and rush game here, and it really isn't. BSC's results just got to show it.
We'll move on to our catch-up game of the week, which was Bonnyrigg Rose returning to league action. They were playing University of Stirling, they've claimed a few scalps off the big boys. They've generally done quite well against the sort of top teams this season. The game was at New Dundas Park, so it was going to be a tough one, but I thought it was going to be a wee bit closer than it actually was. It was a goal and a goal. Scott Gray scrambles in the first, and Dean Brett follows up a Walker save for the second. Both goals within 9 minutes. Curry free kick headed across goal by Moyes, which Hunter heads off the bar, but Ross Gray quickest to rebound to score on the half-hour mark. And Stirling Uni did get a goal back on the 38th minute. It was a header from a Rose defender straight into the path of James Berry, who catches it sweetly to drill past Weir. So 3-1 at half-time. Early into the second half, on the 53rd minute, Angus Mailer was shown a red card for the students with what was described as an ugly-looking challenge, but they did say the conditions might have played a factor, certainly, but another red card for Stirling Uni. It wasn't until the 79th minute that Bonnyrigg Rose increased their lead. Very neat stuff. Ends with a Curry 1-2 with Brett, and he slots into the bottom corner for his second and Rose's fourth. And it was sealed with 7 minutes to go. Crossed by Dean Brett right across the goal, and leaves Webb with little option but to turn it into his own net. So an own goal there to seal it. 5-1 Rose. Very, very convincing win. I think this game was going to go either one or two ways. I thought it would have been a wee bit closer, but given the fact that Bonnyrigg have came out and he scored two, before 10 minutes, and then obviously the red card to Stirling Uni's probably affected it as well. But you've got to give full credit to Bonnyrigg Rose, really. I mean, it's a fantastic result against a University of Stirling side that's much improved this season.
Absolutely. And as you said it early on there, they've got a habit of turning up in these really big games. We've seen them play really well and get points off like East Kilbride and so on this year. Chris has done a fantastic job with them, hasn't he? But yeah, Rose, even the University of Stirling Twitter account basically said, essentially thank God for that, because that's an end to a long old game and we've managed to escape. So that gives you an idea how much Rose were on top, I think, during it. But yeah, Bonnyrigg are here to challenge for this title this year. They've proven that. We started off by saying, it's a great start, but let's see how they keep going. We're approaching the halfway spot and they're right up there. So you've got to say they are legitimate challengers. I think this is a kind of game that shows how legitimate they are, because they've not just beat Uni of Stirling, they've hammered them 5-1. They're here and they're going to do everything they can to win this trophy and get promoted. So next up, East Stirlingshire at home to Cumbernauld Colts, another side right up there in the chase for promotion in terms of East Stirlingshire, and it was a 3-1 win to the home side at Falkirk Stadium. Took till 41 minutes to get going, where Sean Brown headed in from the penalty spot and nestled into the top corner of the Colts net. Not from the penalty spot, he was standing near the penalty spot, I should say. Half time 1-0 in a game that didn't seem to have many chances in it up to that point. 5 minutes into the second half, Jamie Dishington running from inside his own half, floating past defenders, and finished low into the net from outside the box. So, doing what he does best. He's now properly settled in by the looks of things. And Shire sealed the deal, 67 minutes on the clock. Jamie Dishington second and Shire's third after Sean Brown bullying the Colts defence, getting the ball back and rolling it into Dish, who cut inside and found the corner from there. Cumbernauld did get a goal back and threatened a wee bit of a comeback with about 15-20 minutes left. A long range effort from Marty Wright that found the corner of the net. Apparently it was a good one, if we get a chance to see the video anywhere. But Shire saw it through. They've done what they've set out to do. They could have had more. I noticed one of the things that popped up was Evan Horn had a brilliant attempt that the keeper somehow kept out. We've spoken about Jonathan Greer on here before, that he's been a cracking keeper for the Colts, and it sounds like he's kept the score down in this one. So ultimately, Shire get what they want, and again they go from strength to strength after one or two games earlier on where they'll be disappointed not to take all 3 points. They're now seemingly in the groove and they're now doing the business.
We previewed this game last week, myself and Sean. We thought Shire would win it, but Colts, we thought, it would be close. But it looks like Shire's obviously, as you mentioned, they've done the business there. It's good to see obviously the likes of Sean Brown getting in the team and obviously getting goals. Jamie Dishington has been fantastic for Shire this season. Obviously, we talked about the wee bit stick from his former team last week. But also, in terms of Colts, it's good to see Marty Wright. I'm not sure if he's been injured or whatnot. I know they've kind of been playing Lewis Bonner and Ross Kavanagh and guys like that. So it's good to see him back and getting goals, because I think at the start of the season, Marty Wright, he looked like he would be among the top scorers, and he sort of fell off a wee bit. I think it was due to an injury. I'm not 100% sure, but he hadn't been playing, so it's good to see him back. But yeah, full credit to Shire on this one. It's another win for them. It's they've bounced back pretty well from the Kelty defeat, and they're still in amongst the contenders.
And there was no way Sean Brown wasn't going to play against Colts, was there? Let's be honest.
yeah, that's a good point. Sean Brown against his former side there, so that's what Shire should do. They should just be like play the players against their former teams, and that should work out well for them. The Dishington last week and then Sean Brown this week against Colts. So we'll move on to Dalbeattie Star versus Spartans at the Islecroft. I thought this was going to be a tough one for Spartans. Travelling away, it's probably not. Unless you're Dalbeattie, it's probably everyone's least favourite away day for the travel. And they did open the scoring. Spartans on the 32nd minute, almost a carbon copy of his effort midweek. Aaron Murrell strolls through and slides low and home. What's described as a tasty finish by the returning Spartans Twitter guy. Into the second half, Dalbeattie did make it all square. There was a bit of controversy to this one. Dean Hoskins had been lying flat out in the middle of the park, but the play continued and the hosts equalised through Lewis Sloan. Dougie Samuel obviously wasn't best pleased about the decision to continue the game, and it took up until the 86th minute for Spartans to get the lead. It was the big man Cameron Dawson who, an instant impact from the bench, and he rifled home a fantastic away win for Spartans. We mentioned obviously their struggles at Ainsley Park. It's been a bit of a different case. They've been obviously quite good away from home, so if they sort out that sort of home issues at Ainsley Park, they should try and they should be fighting back up towards the top. But you've got to give a wee bit of credit to Dalbeattie Star as well, because they did run Spartans close. They obviously beat them at Islecroft last season in the league, so an interesting one. What are your thoughts, Mozza?
Star will be really disappointed that they've not managed to get something out of that game, to be honest, because Spartans have nicked it right to death. And I said this back in the pre-season kind of predictions podcast we did. It's one of the few things that I predicted that might be slightly right when you think back in it, but I just think Spartans are there to be beaten this year. They're not the defensive force that they were in previous seasons. But fair play to them, they've gone to a place that nobody likes to go to. As an away side, you're always going to get a right challenge when you go to Dalbeattie, and they've done the business in the end. So it's a crank 3 points to take back to Edinburgh. I notice what you're saying about Dougie getting really angry in the sidelines. I wonder if he got booked, because one of the things I forgot to mention in the BSC game was we had one of those rare occasions where a couple of assistant managers got bookings as well. So I forgot that was a thing till this weekend. But you can't argue with the final scoreline in terms of they've gone somewhere that's tough to go. They've got what they wanted, and Star will pick up points by their nature. So they'll be disappointed, but they'll move on pretty quickly, I'd suspect.
Spartans, I think for them, I think they've struggled down the right. Obviously, I don't think they've totally replaced Mikey Herd. Obviously, Jamie Dishington went away to Shire as well, so they do have issues down that right side. Guys like Adam Corbett have been playing right back. I'm not sure if that's changed recently, obviously, but I think a few more signings and Jack Smith returning from injury, I think could help them out a wee bit, but we'll have to wait till probably January now to see if they are going to make a few changes to try and have maybe a better second half to the season. It's certainly interesting, and it's certainly interesting that Star's doing a lot better this season.
Yeah,
as with some other clubs as well.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Spartans bring in a couple of loanees as well. They've done it before. They've got Hibs and Hearts right on their doorstep. Keep an eye on it. On to the reigning champs, although I think we can now safely say they're not going to be defending their title. East Kilbride at home to a team that might well be taking it, Kelty Hearts, and it finished 1-0 to the visitors, a really tight game, and it was that man Nathan Austin who got the goal in the 36th minute, but straight afterwards Kilby shot themselves in the foot basically. So Reid gets sent off after receiving his second yellow in the first half, and basically from that point it was a game of few chances from what I've seen. Kilby kind of huffing and puffing but not really getting anywhere in terms of clear-cut chances. Kelty quite content to control the game in terms of possession and try and get a second just when the opportunities arose. It didn't happen, but they've kept a clean sheet again. They've got the goal through Austin, and they've got a really decent 3 points from K Park, which despite Kilby's struggles this year, it's still a tough place to go and get a victory. So Kelty march on, and I don't really think there's much else we can add to it.
I think for East Kilbride, obviously it's another sort of home defeat, if you will. You would expect them going down to 10 men to Kelty to really take advantage, but I think it was a wee bit sort of, I think they wanted that win. It probably was a wee bit nervy. Unfortunately, I didn't make the game, so I wasn't 100% sure. But just from what I've heard, East Kilbride, in fairness, they did go for it. They did bring on a couple of strikers, Craig Malcolm and that towards the end. So had they got the draw there, it could have been a decent result. I don't think there was too much in terms of the performance that people were disappointed with. I think it was just obviously Craig Reid, such a decent defender for East Kilbride. I mean, that probably did spoil the game a wee bit for them, but certainly there's positives in the sense that, you know, Kelty Hearts didn't run riot, because we know how much they can score, even against some of the top sides. So it's you've basically said it, Derek. There, we and Sean talked about it last week, obviously, but yeah, I think the league's gone for them, and going by your reaction, I think you would agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, we're now getting to the stage, we're almost halfway in, and I just think there's only 4 teams in the running now. Now that things have begun to settle down a wee bit, the dust settled. So you're looking at the top 4 right now: Kelty, Bonnyrigg, East Stirlingshire and BSC, in my opinion. BSC have still got a game in hand in the top 2. Shire have played a game more. So, yeah, I don't think Strollers are going to be able to catch up, because the 4 sides I've just mentioned there, at least one of them is just going to storm in, I think, and drop very few points in the running. So that's your 4 in my opinion. Don't know about yourself. Would you go with that, or?
Probably Kelty, Bonnyrigg, probably the way it is now, I think, at the moment. Not in that order, obviously, I think it can change, but certainly BSC will be up there. I think Shire will be up there. It's definitely going to be tough for the likes of, well, we mentioned it again last week as well, but the likes of Civil or maybe Cali to pinch that top 4. Even Spartans now, I think, are going to struggle. I think Civil will finish above their rivals. I think possibly, might be wrong about this, but it might be the first time since they've both been in the Lowland League.
Yeah, I think you're right. Although, bear in mind, Spartans do have a few games in hand, and they're 8 points behind, so it's still going to be a tight running for the old Edinburgh bagging rights there. But yeah, I think we're agreed then, and kind of the 4 teams that could go on to win the league then.
Definitely, mate. I think it's, I'm just obviously doing it from order. Don't want to be accused of bias from the Bonnyrigg faithful, but yeah, certainly they're the 4 for me now. I did think at the start of the season, looking at the strengths of the teams, it would be between Kelty and East Kilbride, but you've got to look at it now and say, them 4 teams, Kelty, Bonnyrigg, BSC, East Stirlingshire, I think they've all got a chance, and I don't think there's going to be a lot in it come towards the end of the season. I know people tend to think, like so maybe Kelty or Bonnyrigg might run away with it. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be close between them 4 teams.
I think it's going to come down to the games against each other, to be honest, and with the occasional spoiler potential from the likes of University of Stirling or Spartans, who might well be able to take a point or 2 away. Obviously civil service thrown into that mix as well, so it's interesting. It's not, as some people feared, one team running away with it, so we can't ask for any more than that.
Moving on to Edinburgh University versus Gallifreydine Rovers at East Peffermill. 2 teams that were really, really struggling going into this. Gala, surprisingly, I mean, they were pretty decent at the start of the season. We gave them props, but our predictions, we mentioned predictions, they might have came true with Gala in the last few games anyway. It was Gala that got the opening goal through Niall Kelly on the 8th minute. Edinburgh Uni did equalise through Abdel Youssef, a guy we obviously know and rate. It's good to see him back in amongst the Uni goals just before half time on the 37th. Edinburgh Uni took the lead just into the second half with a penalty from Mark Waters, and Gala did get back into it, but only with 15 minutes to go. It was Ross Aitchison or an own goal, depending on who you ask. It was that made it 2-2. Gala did go down to 10 men. Levy Kinchant was sent off for Gala for his second yellow, and that was just after the goal, so quite odd one there. But it was the 78th minute that Gala sealed the victory with Ryan Mayer. Impressive a wee bit for Gala, going down to 10 men in a tough game. I know it was sort of towards the end, but to get the goal just after that as well, it was what I expected. I expected Gala to get the win here, but looking at Edinburgh Uni, myself in particular, I have been kind of harsh on Vale and harsh on Edinburgh Uni. The results this week, maybe got to reassess that, because Vale, for that first half against Civil, and Edinburgh Uni certainly playing well against Gala, we might have to have a wee second look at that in terms of where we're going to be putting them, I think.
Yeah, I mean, cliche time. There's no easy games in this league, right? That is the most well-worn cliche you'll ever hear about a football league. But in this case, it is true, because they've clearly improved since the start of the season, both the sides you've mentioned there. Edinburgh Uni tend to keep things tight against sides in and amongst them anyway. They've always been that kind of team, but it's a huge result for Gala, especially going down to 10 after equalising, but finding a way to get the 3 points. They'll be delighted with that, because that's giving them a wee bit of a cushion. Now, when you look at the table, both Gala and Dalbeattie have got just the comfort there of a kind of 5-6 point blanket, you know. Berwick, I personally think, are going to start picking up a couple of wins, so I wouldn't put them into the dogfight at this point. We'll get into Berwick in a minute, but yeah, you're looking at Gretna, you're looking at Edinburgh Uni, and you're looking at Vale of Leithen as the three sides that are really fighting for their lives at this point. I saw enough of Gretna yesterday to think that they are going to pick up points as the season progresses. They've got a goal scorer when they've got a chance. They've got a really strong physical side that can bully certain teams. So yeah, it's time to stand up for all these sides. And again, we've had this chat about it's going to come down to the games against each other. Uni will see that as an opportunity missed. Especially Gallo going down to 10, but I don't want to be too harsh on them with it. I think you just need to give the credit to Gallo at this stage.
Yeah, just on Edinburgh Uni as well, there was something that I noticed. They beat Stirling Uni in the Bucks midweek as well, so another sort of positive sign there for Edinburgh. I mean, we said, or certainly I said, that I felt that they lacked maybe the threat in the final third, but it now looks like they might have some sort of defensive issues. If they can sort that out, then again, it's a case of who they can pick points up against, and then obviously, as we mentioned, Vale and probably Gretna and the like will be in that battle as well. It's certainly got a wee bit more interesting than it was over the previous few weeks, I would say.
Yeah, we're now at that point I mentioned earlier on where things are just settling down. We're beginning to get an idea of how the season's going to progress to the end, and it's good to see that we're going to have battles rather than what we've had previously with, say, a team running away at the top or a team getting just totally left behind at the bottom. It just adds a little extra layer of intrigue as things continue on. That takes us to the final game of the week, which was Cali Braves at home to Berwick Rangers, and it was a 2-2 scoreline that might not reflect exactly what happened. So if we get into it, first kind of notable bit of action was in the half-hour mark where Berwick appealed for a penalty, but the ref waved it away. Mixed reviews, as you'd expect for fans, saying whether it was or it wasn't. I think we'll just need to give the ref the benefit of the doubt on this occasion. But that was the only real kind of point of note in the first half. Took both sides feeling each other out. Into the second, and 10 minutes in, it was Kevin Waugh's free kick flying into the top corner past Hogarth to make it 1-0 to Berwick. Neil McLaughlin managed to slam home an equaliser with around about 15 minutes left to go. And at that point, Cali's tails were up. But Berwick managed to weather the storm, and 10 minutes left, regained the lead. It looked like they'd done it. At that point, it looked like they'd done enough to see the game out. But at the death and injury time, no less, Rafi Christian headed in a cross ball for Cali Braves to steal a draw in a game that most people seem to agree neither side really deserved to lose. It was just a good game of football, especially in the second half. But again, it's so near yet so far for Berwick. They need to turn that corner at some point and just squeeze out results. But they've obviously played well. So they've jumped over certain barriers and certain hurdles up to this point. There's just one more they need to jump over, and that's squeezing out the 3 points, because they don't want to get embroiled in that battle at the bottom. They want to, at this point, I would suggest, get to mid-table and reassess, sit there comfortably and get ready for next year. Now that they've adjusted to being in Tier 5. But Cali Braves never say die, that's the other thing you've got to say. And you're guaranteed goals every single week. So I maybe shouldn't have been surprised that they got a second. It's unusual for them to get one goal.
I often compare, this season anyway, I compare Cali Braves to civil service because they do have this sort of tendency not to die, as you mentioned. I actually thought this, well, I sometimes give my prediction to the Braves, and I thought they would win this 3-2, so I did expect goals in it. I did expect Bennett to score first, but yeah, you've got to give credit to Braves for getting back into it. But I've said this before, it must be so frustrating for Ricky Waddle to see his team score goals, but defensively they've obviously still got issues there. It's great that they've brought Rafi back, obviously that's been a recent thing. I don't know how long he's staying, if it's just till January or the end of the season, but Berwick Rangers, there's positives there obviously. It's a good away point, it's a point's better than nothing obviously. I mean, they would have loved to have seen out that win obviously, and Kevin Waugh, who was at Strollers last season on loan from Hibs, he is so dangerous on a free kick. It's unreal how good he is at free kicks, and it's good to see him getting a goal, because I'm not too certain how many he's had this season, but certainly he's a danger from set plays. But again, Cali Braves, Neil McLaughlin, Ross McNeil, Davy Winters more recently obviously, they're so dangerous. If they could maybe just get one or two more defenders in there, someone with a wee bit of experience, they could be up there.
And that's where Rafi might really give my helping hand, because there's a centre-back with experience. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Arguably your best value for money in the league's got to go to Cali Braves at this point, doesn't it? Just for sheer entertainment value and goals. But yeah, if they solidify that defence, kind of looking forward to next year, because it's too late for them this season to get involved, in my opinion anyway. Who knows? They've got lofty ambitions and they're going the right way. They're making progress, and you wouldn't bet against them the next couple of seasons, would you?
Absolutely not, mate. And one thing we really have to credit Cali Braves on this season is they've changed the name. They've got a fantastic setup at Alliance Park, but in terms of the exposure for the club, the £25 for a season ticket, the incentives for living locally, the media that they do. I mean, there's every game there's a sort of post-match and pre-match interview with the gaffer. They've really upped their game, and obviously I think BSC, the Michael and guys like George, they sort of started the trend a wee bit. I think other teams are sort of maybe copying the model for BSC. I know Cali Braves maybe accused BSC of copying their 25 ticket season thing, but really no, we're seeing a sort of new wave this season. Teams sort of being more focused on media. I mean, we've got guys at Civil Service Strollers that's doing match reports for them now. I'm really, really happy about seeing these things, and it's really great exposure for the league and the teams. It's
a sensible thing to do at this level. It's an extra way of getting your name out there and potentially attracting new fans, be they in the ground or online. And it costs nothing to increase your social presence. So it's something I'm quite passionate about, as you'd expect, being involved with BSC. Michael led the way in many ways, I think, especially through the official league website at that point as well. But yeah, it's great to see teams that are picking up on it. Cali Braves are taking a step further, I'd suggest, because obviously they are pumping out so much content to their shareholders as well, constant video content and all that. Cali Braves output's better than a lot of Premier League teams. Like, consider that just now. So it's great to see. It's something that I'd encourage more and more sides to get into, and that seems to be the trend. So long may it continue.
I know we kind of name dropped BSC and Caledonian Braves and Civil there. We have to obviously about Shire as well. We have to add them in terms of them streaming games to fans abroad, and obviously you've got to mention the likes of Kelly Hearts as well. So
absolutely, it's not us kind of focusing on certain names. It's us, but saying the league as a whole has made great strides, I feel like. And not just this league, you look at the Highland League as well. Suddenly they've got match highlights going up more often than not. The Highland League were behind the Lowland League a long time in terms of just general Twitter stuff and all that as well, but it's great to see Tier 5 in the East of Scotland at Tier 6 and 7 making great strides now, and it can only be a good thing for lower league football, non-league football.
I added something about the Scottish Cup in the Lowland League Wikipedia, basically saying, the members or whatever, so they all qualify for the first round of the Scottish Cup, the top two, blah blah blah. So I had a wee check of the Highland League's wiki. as well, and I think someone's basically copied the same from the Lowland League, other than things that are specific to our league. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. But I mean, that's it doesn't matter. But I like that everything's up to date and people know what's going on in their clubs, and that's the main reason I think we both got involved in the Lowland League to sort of boost the profile. And there's things like on Transfermarkt I go to now, and the transfers are already done. It used to just be me covering the whole league.
Yeah.
And now I go now, and there's teams that have already done them or people, and it's just it's an exciting time, I think, and I think it's only going to get better as well.
Well, when we first started this podcast, how hard was it to try and get information on certain games? It was an absolute nightmare. Like, you'd be trolling deepest, darkest, like, Border Telegraph and all that, just trying to get anything on some games. But to the credit of clubs, it's so much easier now. You get so much more detail. While there's still outlying games here and there that it's how we struggle with, more often than not, it's getting a lot easier for people to get information, which in turn is only going to help more people get interested in this level of football. And just before we get into the next weekend's fixtures, now would be a good time to kind of drop a cheap plug as well. Anyone out there who is a fan of the Football Manager PC game as well, the two of us will be working together to get the database out that will let you play a Lowland League game. And that will be out hopefully by the start of December, so keep an eye on the Twitter. We'll keep you up to date with it as well. Highland, Lowland, East of Scotland, South of Scotland, and the juniors as well will be included.
Yep, absolutely, and we'll try and make the Lowland League realistic in terms of squad lists and stuff like that. And hopefully we could probably add a wee bit more to it. Moza will probably try and update the kits as much as we can and stuff like that. Things that just make the experience a wee bit better. I know a lot of people play Football Manager, so
we'll find a way to put a wee nugget or two in there as well. I'm sure Spartan's Twitter guy will make an appearance somehow,
Yeah, and the hashtags, you could probably have Stirling Unis Bleed Green and Kelty's The Maroon Machine, or I can't remember, is BSC We Are BSC or BSC Match Day or something like that?
History's Overrated was one of them. We Are BSC, there's all sorts of them.
Yeah, and then once teams that don't have them, we'll make some up, I don't know. Anyway, on to the weekend's fixtures. We do have two Friday night games. One is Spartans versus Bonnyrigg Rangers at Ainsley Park. I think this is going to be a difficult one for Spartans, to be honest. Bonnyrigg, they played recently, obviously, and Spartans got through to the East of Scotland Cup final, and it was a close game, and I think Bonnyrigg had already beaten Spartans in one of the Cup, I think the Football Nations qualifying cup. I think it's going to be another close one, but I think Bonnyrigg will fancy their chances, especially at Ainsley Park, but I think Spartans really need to knock that on the head and start getting home wins. I will not give a prediction because I said that I wouldn't remember. I did almost give a prediction last week for Sparta. I kind of do give a prediction for the Edinburgh Football Podcast. You see it on Twitter, but on this pod I said I wouldn't give a prediction. I just think it's going to be a tough match for both teams. Could
go either way. Wouldn't surprise me to see a score draw. Also wouldn't surprise me to see Bonnyrigg take 3 points here, but this would be a statement game if they could get 3 points from it. I can't back them to get it until they do it though, so I'll stick with the draw, I think.
And still sticking with Friday, but we move into the South Challenge Cup. The league games didn't last very long. We're back into cup action. BSC Glasgow versus Preston Athletic at the Bonnyrigg Stadium. For me, it's a home win for BSC.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It'll be a chance to bleed some of the youngsters in as well. I expect to see the likes of Jordan Northcote get a game. Swifty tends to be quite good at rotating the squad when it comes to cup games, but make no mistake, BSC want to go and win the South Challenge Cup. That's the oft quoted Cup of the South. It's a big one, so I'd expect a home win, to be honest, although I've heard good things about Preston this season. Moving
on to Saturday's games, we'll start with Hillabeef Hawthorn versus Cumbernauld Colts at Kears Park. This is an interesting one for me, I think, because Hillabeef, they obviously recently changed their manager. John Mitchell's now in charge. John, I know John fairly well. Obviously, he's been at Hillabeef for so long. He was managing under 20s, the development. I think it'll be difficult. I think it's a difficult one to call. But Cumbernauld Colts have been better of late. I know they just got defeated by Shire, but I think that could go into extra time, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a really tight looking fixture. Colts, despite a wee upturn recently, still haven't convinced me of late. So I think Hawes will fancy their chances there. It's one that I don't think I could call either way, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough game. Moving on to Pace versus Bonnyrigg Rose, Westfield Park. We should say, sorry, that the last two fixtures, Hillabeef and at Pace, are both 2:30 kickoffs instead of the 3 o'clock. Obviously, it's because the East of Scotland teams are hosting. It can only go really one way, and you've got to give it to Pace, surely. You know what I mean? So Bonnyrigg Rose are favourites for me in that one.
Yeah, that's a game that I'm looking to get along to on a Saturday. Pace have done some brilliant work since coming into the East of Scotland. Real community-based club that are doing all the right things. They're not on the same level as Bonnyrigg though, and you would expect a comfortable away win. But no, I'm looking forward to it.
I was at Westfield Park with Sean last season, and it was actually at this fixture. I think it was in the East of Scotland, obviously, at the time, but Pace versus Bonnyrigg Rose, and I think Pace did hold them for a wee bit, but then Bonnyrigg obviously just ran away with it, and I think it could be something similar on Saturday. Moving on to our first all Lowland League tie, it's Kelty Hearts versus University of Stirling at New Central Park. Kelty Hearts returning home after, I think, 5 away games, so they'll be eager for this one. I think Kelty will win it, obviously, but I think University of Stirling proved so far this season that they can be really decent against the bigger sides. They did draw with Kelty last season, albeit in the league, and they did have a really decent half when Kelty Hearts did go to Forthbank. So it's an interesting one, but you've got to imagine Kelty will want to go out and win as much as possible, not just the league.
Yeah, you'd imagine Kelty will be the favourites. The thing when you're Central Park though is that'll suit Stirling's style of play. They like to get the ball down, they like to pass it, they like to play good football, so it'll be an interesting one to watch. It'll be a good spectacle, if nothing else.
East Kilbride versus East Stirlingshire at K Park. I don't know how to call this. I'm actually going to give the advantage to Shire. I usually tend to, or I had been going East Kilbride at K Park, but given the fact that they've 4 of their 5 losses in the league have been at K Park. Shire are really on a roll at the moment, despite the Kelty defeat, which is very close. Obviously, I was at the game, but I would give it has to be. I have to give Shire the favourite tag, I would say.
I would stick with that. Yeah, I feel like that's the kind of game that Shire will be disappointed if they don't win. It's also a great chance for Kelty to forget what's going on in the league and bounce back. So it's an interesting one. I would say Shire are favourites, so.
Moving on to our final fixture, Caledonian Braves versus Bonnyton Thistle at Alliance Park. Bonnyton Thistle, the only South of Scotland team still in the competition. I'm actually really intrigued by this game. It's one of those ones, obviously I'll be at the Kelty game, but if I wasn't at the Kelty game, I'd probably be at this one because I want to see how it goes with Bonnyton, because they've obviously done well to get this far in the South Challenge Cup. And Caledonian Braves, we've mentioned obviously they score a lot, but they do concede a lot. I think it could be a close one, or it could be a blowout for Caledonian Braves, I think.
Yeah, Bonnyton, much the same as we gave Pace, a fair bit of credit, well deserved. You need to give Bonnyton it as well, because it's another community side that are doing everything bang on. They also know Cali Braves, but in a slightly different regard, because they've played their reserves in the league. The South of Scotland. I've just got the South of Scotland table up to have a wee nosy at it just now. Bonnyton played 8, won 4, drawn 3, lost 1. With a plus 30 goal difference as well. So they keep it tight in the back. They concede 1 goal a game on average, but they score a hell of a lot more. Cali Braves reserves haven't been doing anywhere near as well, but that's kind of to be expected, I'd suggest. So I still think Braves will fancy their chances are winning. They might not find it as easy to be free scoring as they're used to, given that Thistle don't really concede many, but I'll have an interested eye on it, certainly.
I might be wrong about this, but I do believe that the Caledonian Braves, I think they're still Edisport, I might be wrong about that, but they did get a result against Bonnyton in the South of Scotland. I might be completely wrong about that, I can't quite remember.
Okay, well that would put an interesting wee twist on it. I've actually just realised that it's actually played 10-1-6, so they've won another 2 games since Wikipedia was last updated. But it'll be an interesting game nonetheless.
I might, as I say, I might be wrong about that, but I'm sure I did see that. Obviously, we have Bonnyton on the Catchup Twitter, and we kind of got on with them, and a very progressive club and whatnot. And it'll be interesting on Saturday to see what the result's going to be. I'm hoping maybe 5-4 to someone.
Give us more excitement. We're greedy.
Yep, yeah, they've not been short of excitement, Cali Braves, and the fans are obviously probably loving it. Well, it depends, depending on the result, obviously. But we'll move on to plugs. I'll let you go first, Derek, as always.
Yeah, nice and simple. At Moza Plays on Twitter, and you'll find me anywhere else from there. And yourself?
Rampant FM on Twitter, and you'll get the Catchup at Official Catchup. And you'll get us on Facebook at Lowland League Catchup as well. Pretty straightforward one today, mate. We're obviously thankful for all the support, people that listen in. I kind of announced the views or the plays, if you will, during the week there, and we've just been doing fantastically well since we started doing this last year.
Absolutely. I can only just echo that. Thank you to everyone that listens, gets involved, kind of has a bit of banter and comments away as well. You're the reason we still do it, basically, because if nobody listened to us, we'd have packed it in. So really appreciate it.
So yeah, on that way, obviously are thankful for the support of the players, the gaffers, the clubs, the fans, just everyone that listens in. The league, people like George Fraser, obviously, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.